Dear audience, if you ask people outside of Switzerland what our beautiful country stands for, they normally say something like watches, chocolate, maybe the pharma industry or banking. And fair enough, that's all correct, but actually we have a lot more to offer. For example, we are champions in the field of DeepTech. DeepTech Ventures transfer technology research into successful high-growth businesses. This process, as you can imagine, is very, very complicated and complex. Our experts on the panel that follows in a second are going to discuss the common mistakes that startups in this field do and which prevent them from attracting international capital and from becoming global players. The framework for our talk will be the DeepTech Playbook, which has been recently launched. The moderator of our panel today is Patrick Griss from Zühlke Ventures, and his guests are Wenger from Wenger Vieli, Raphael Tobler from the Swiss Startup Association, Friedrich, COO of Distalmotion, and Ata-Tuna Ciftlik from Biotechne. Welcome.
Good evening, everybody. Very happy to be here. My name is Patrick Griss. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Zühlke Ventures. First, before we start, huge thanks to the organizers, also to the founder of the event for this event. It's fantastic opportunity to exchange ideas and discuss new ideas. We have a great mix of experts on the panel. Thank you for all finding the time to be here and discuss this exciting topic. We have Friedrich Wenger. I don't think I have to introduce Friedrich to anyone. I do it nevertheless, and I hope I do you justice. You're a lawyer and partner at your own practice, Wenger Vieli. You're an angel investor. You are, or have been, on countless boards. I think at one point you were the human in Switzerland with most board seats, if I remember correctly.
So that was wrong.
You're founding member of SECA, founding president of Swiss Startup Invest, and also with that, the founder of Startup Days, and the supporter of many, many initiatives. Then we have Raphael Tobler on the other side, a bit younger, but almost as prolific as Friedrich, and with an impeccable haircut. Me too, actually. I went to the hairdresser as well. You have multiple roles as well. You're the founder of eduwo, your own startup, the founder of Swiss Startup Association, president as well, the founder and president of Winterthur Entrepreneur Foundation, founder of Startup Nights, president of FDP Winterthur, member of Parliament of Winterthur, and you for sure get my vote if you do again, if you're a candidate for the Nationalratswahlen 2027. Now we start to get into the deep techies, the founders that really run extremely successful deep tech companies. We have on the right, Friedrich. You founded first another deep tech company, which is called Imago, that you sold successfully. This is, I think, when we met the first time, you were still running Imago, and then you were hired to be the CEO of Distalmotion. That was 11 years ago. At the time, more or less 4 employees. And for all those who don't know Distalmotion, it's operating out of Lausanne. It's doing robotic surgery. You've been leading the growth from 4 to roughly 200 employees. You have raised $250 million from mainly US investors, give or take. You have switched to the COO roles, and this week, FDA just got Distalmotion got FDA approval, which unlocks roughly 600,000 patients per year in the US. Thank you to be part of the panel. And then we have Ata. He was the founder and CEO of Lunaphore that you sold successfully last summer. We know each other for 10 years. I think we met in 2014 in Lugano.
Yep.
So I started to work with Diego first, working on the microfluidic chip. I ended up investing. You were 3 founders at the time. When you left, 150 employees. You raised roughly $80 million. Greatly successful technology, and another very good example of a successful deep tech company. Thanks a lot to be here today. So what we're going to do now is quickly introduce a topic. I would like to have some airtime now, the next, say, 2 minutes, and then we start into a discussion with the panelists. And I'd like to kick off that famous list of companies that is cited every year, which one of them was published on the 3rd of October in The Economist, which stated again that for the 14th time in a row, Switzerland is the innovation champion of the world. And if you analyze these studies a little bit more in detail, you see what is measured actually is the number of patents per citizen, the number of scientific publications, R&D spending, and VC investments. So yes, we are top ranking, but if you're honest, this measures our tremendous capacity of research output, both from corporates and public institutions. And also, it witnesses the tremendous quality of our educational system. So yes, indeed, I think we are invention champions. What's the difference between innovation and invention? Innovation is not the invention of new ideas or technologies, but their successful implementation in an economic system. And that's a quote of a guy who, of the last century, Joseph Schumpeter. I really recommend to read his papers. He was the first one to really write about innovation, and he clearly saw that innovation is always tied to economic success. Successful integration into economic system. So in essence, we see that innovation is very important. And he also stated that the only true force in a society to drive economic growth, competitive advantage, and social progress actually is innovation. So it is a very important topic. Now the question is, what can we do to take this fantastic starting point of great inventiveness that we have in this economic system in Switzerland? How can we bring that to successful innovation? And there's 3 pillars that I would like to discuss. Maybe another one is popping up in the discussion, but one of them is fuel. We need capital. A car can't drive without fuel. Innovation doesn't happen without capital, so we need capital. The other thing that is required is the mindset, the right mindset. Or not just of you founders, but also the whole ecosystem. We need adequate regulatory hurdles. Too much regulation is going to stifle innovation. And we need execution skill, or the know-how of how to execute, how to bring an idea to a great product. And this is where I'm going to plug my new book, shamelessly. It's called the DeepTech Playbook. And I think over there's a QR code where you can order it. And by the way, all the proceeds of this book, they go to a foundation which is called DeepTech Switzerland Foundation. So, that was that. Kriegel, if you hear that, if you hear deep tech, if you think about what needs to be done, what is on top of your head? Do you believe in deep tech?
I personally strongly believe in deep tech. I strongly believe in the technology of Switzerland. Switzerland spends around 3% of its GDP into innovations. That makes around 20 billion. We have invested in Swiss startups last year 2.5 billion, the year before 4 billion. And in order to accelerate this ecosystem, we need to have 10 billion. So I think we have an excellent platform, beautiful technology, great innovations, but we have to transform all what we do at the universities and the Fachhochschulen into companies and into jobs. And I think we have a great situation, but we definitely lack some capital.
Fuel. Let's talk about afterwards. I'd like to switch to Raphael, because one thing that's really on top of my head a lot recently, and that's regulation. So as a health tech investor, this is nothing foreign to me. We need regulation. We need to deliver products that are safe, patient compliant, and so forth. But there's a gap widening between the US and Europe. In your assessment, where do we stand with regard to regulation in Switzerland? And what can we do to make sure that it's at an adequate level?
Of course, you mentioned it right. So we need some regulations. I think that's for sure important for the society. The big challenge is a bit, the world goes faster and faster. Innovation, 100 years ago, it took 20 years, even more. Today, some innovation took long, yes, but sometimes it goes very fast. So European Union is proud about talking about the AI law regulation. Meanwhile, in China and the United States, they say, okay, just go ahead, try everything out. Now with the big discussion, is it a success that we already have the regulation in the European Union or not? And when it comes to Switzerland, I think you know, fundraising money, it's difficult in Switzerland. All the funds we have, or most of the funds, they are not in Switzerland, even if Switzerland is like a banking nation. All the funds are in Luxembourg or Liechtenstein, so that's a regulation topic. That's we need to change in Bern to have better regulation. That would lead to much more VCs here in Switzerland. That would be very helpful if you're raising a lot of money. You always need to go to the States, some maybe in the future to China. So we would love to have better regulation for funds here in Switzerland. A big regulation issue is about employees. If you need a visa for a third country employee, very difficult to get it. A lot of big companies like you had or working on, you would have more, for sure, more employees here in Switzerland if there would be better visa regulation. And then something all the founders know about, it's about the tax stuff. If you want to do an employee share option plan with your team, I mean, that's crazy terrible. And how we can do it or how we can change it only works via politics. So we need to change the law in Zurich, in the cantons. We need to change the law in Switzerland, and then that's we need more. That's the reason we need more entrepreneurs in politics.
I think, Friedrich, you want to add to that?
I mean, look, if we have to change always the laws, I'm in this business since 30 years, and you know, I try to change laws, you know. Forget about changing laws. You know, the policymakers, they are slow. They have no interest in innovation, so we have to move on. We have to find our niches, and we don't have to spend too much time on regulatory stuff. The banking place, Switzerland, is lost. Forget about. I tried to bring back limited partnerships to Switzerland. I failed. So forget about regulation for medtech. I mean, look, I developed many medtech companies, or I was involved, and they are now in the States. Why? Because the regulator is much more active. I think we have to find our niches. I don't want to say that there is no medtech market, but it's a difficult market. And deep tech, it's a long journey. It's not 5 years, it's not 10 years. Here we're talking 15 years, and you know that.
Absolutely. And I think that's a very nice segue to the question I have for Michael to kick off. It's a topic that I really want to get out today is product market fit. Some know me, I know I'm really hard on product market fit. You mentioned the US. I think Distalmotion's market is in the US. And so the product is geared to the US market. Finding product market fit is really hard work. It's not magic, it's hard work. What is the secret to make sure that the product has product market fit once you start to sell in the US?
So I might maybe just add a comment to you, what you said. I fully agree, and I would probably call it deep pocket tech in a certain way. And indeed, our journey is 12 years. It's going to go another 5. We have raised about $250 million so far. To get to profitability, we need another $500 million in investment. So it's huge, the amounts of money that we need. And so along that journey, it was super important to have a very compelling rationale for why investors should invest into Distalmotion to finance us on our journey. And what we did very early on in our case is that we went into clinical use with Dexter, with prior prototypes of Dexter. Already back in 2016, we did first cases, you were there. And we really, very early on, knew that we had to go into real-life use, try things out, take what works, and be willing to abandon what does not work. And by doing so, we have done what I think, I'm an engineer as well, what engineers typically when they come out of EPFL or ETH don't like to do, and when they have their own technology, abandon a technology. Let go of your inventions and focus on figuring out the solution for the product, for the problem that you want to solve. And so that's a big hurdle that needs to be overcome, accepting that what you have invented might not be the right thing, adapting so you can have that fit. I think that's one ingredient that is very important.
I think I just would like to repeat that, maybe in different words. Technology is never value, never. And the other thing is you have to try. You have to try sometimes several times until you realize when the customer is happy with the product. So these are really important lessons. And if it's in the US, then you have to test it in the US. Now this gives a segue to the next step. Basically, you have found product market fit, then you have to do marketing and sales. You grew, Ata, you grew to 7-digit figures extremely quickly. What would you tell first-time founders what the importance is of marketing and sales?
All right. I mean, I would like to also connect a little bit everything, because what we see today in the deep tech scene in Switzerland is a lot of companies, and it's a long game. It takes years to develop a product, right? So a lot of companies, they basically focus on developing the product, and then they hope that once they have the product with little investment and risk, they will be able to scale up. But this is not really correct. I think one of the first things that I tell to the first-time founders or the founders in general in this, okay, don't be scared of this. And it's not about the founders. I mean, investors, the mindset in general, and the lack of talent in Switzerland to bring that, okay, we have a product market fit, but right now we have to throw tons of money because we made something deep tech and we have to compete globally. We cannot just do, oh, let's do the Swiss market first, go to the German market then, and this is not the game we play. Many people are just scared about that. So I think like number one is like, don't be scared about it, and then this is the real value driver of this. Otherwise, you have to just wait to be acquired by a competitor most of the time, which probably is not going to be a great one. Now, the second step is, I think where we really invested in is changing the mindset of the customer. And this starts before the sales itself, because by definition, if you're building a deep tech product, you're changing the way that things are done. And then your customer is not ready to hear about that. And then when you have that decision, okay, now my main value builder, I am putting all my company, all my efforts into building my market, I think what we have to do is to sell the vision. Once you sell the vision, once the customer grasps, okay, this is something new and this is going to change the way that things are, once the customer can project itself into the future by using your product or using your service, whatever it is, then features are just a detail. And this is what we discovered at Lunaphore. It's like once they were ready to hear what we are saying, product was just a detail. And this is extremely important. And the third step is like once we create this, then you send the troops to the field, like field marketers, like the salespeople you have. And then that is really much more scientific than it's an art. It's all about numbers. It's all about conversion figures. A good, like well-oiled sales and marketing machine once the customer is ready to hear what you're about to say.
I think it's really, you mentioned in the beginning, in your case, your beachhead market was instantly global from day one. Yep. And I think it was absolutely required. And this is the kind of go-to market which is really difficult. You have to get that one right. So you need to understand your customer, you need to have the vision and so forth. And you shouldn't be afraid of it. But to go to market instantly global, you need fuel. So now we're at the fuel question again, capital. If we look at the situation in Switzerland, where should the capital come from going forward? Where does it come from and how much? Is there enough?
Yeah, I mean, many people say it's enough. I strongly believe it's not enough. We need 10 billion to deploy in Switzerland. It's a problem of entire Europe. Where shall the money come from? I think we see more and more US VCs coming to Europe and Switzerland, which is a good development, but it's also a dangerous development because the US guys, they have a tendency to basically steal the technology and transfer it to the States. So we need to have a strong Swiss-based money. We have in our pension funds 1,000 billions of money of all our people who are daily saving funds. And we're within the framework of our DeepTech Nation Foundation. We will work with the pension funds on products that they learn to invest into this asset class, not thinking of losing money, but making money and contributing something and giving back something to the society. So it needs both. We don't have enough, but we also have an issue on people. I think we need more money, but also we need better people.
Oh, I absolutely love that, because that's the question we said, Raphael and I, that we would discuss, mindset. I mean, do we need to change our mindset to be successful in the future? And I'm not just talking about the founders, also investors, support organizations. What's your opinion?
I don't know if you need really to change the whole mindset. And I think there are different aspects. So one side, Switzerland is the worst country to found your own company, because day one, after study, you can go to the big corporates, you stay there the whole life, you have a nice salary, easy job, finishing at 5, going home, enjoy your life. On the other side, it's the most amazing country to found your own company. You have a lot of business angels helping you at the beginning, you have a lot of support, amazing universities here. So I think that's a bit the challenge. So we have to make clear to everyone, hey, founding your own company, that could be amazing, even if you work longer than 5 o'clock in the evening, for sure. But the whole story, I mean, that's a story of, you will tell to your kids for sure every day, and I think it's more fun than working in a big corporate. And on the other side, everyone has in Switzerland about this comfort, you know, rich country, easy life for nearly everyone. And founding a company, it needs a lot of trust that it will be maybe successful, and I think there we can work as a society more to convince the people, hey, if you fail, that's not the mistake. Everyone fails in different 50% in Switzerland, they divorce, so that's a fail. Okay, nobody judges about. It's the same if you found a company. You can fail, you do the next one, get up to the next one, and I think there we should work. Always when there is a company and it fails, everyone is a little bit, okay, it failed, you know, like, we knew it before. No, nobody knew it before, but the people love to talk about, and I think there we should work on it. And of course, it comes what Friedrich said about the investors, not only about the pension fund, about basically everyone. We have so many rich people here in Switzerland. They invest all the money in the stock market, they buy some houses and stuff like that. They should invest more into startups, and here we have 2 amazing cases and some other cases here to show everyone, hey, investing in startup, it's fun, and it can be a big revenue in a few years.
Micho, you would like to add to that?
It's fun, but work.
Just talking about the mindset and the funding, what we always, when we build ventures, we always think about, okay, when are we going to sell it? Or when are we going to get the return back? But what we rarely ask in Switzerland is, when are we going to acquire other companies? And I think that's where the fundamental mindset change needs to come. It requires much deeper pockets, even deeper pockets, but I haven't seen a lot of entrepreneurs in Switzerland asking themselves, when can I be in a position that I'm acquiring new technologies? I don't see that, even though, and to your point, by the way, I fully agree, if you fail, you have unemployment, you don't lose your house, you don't lose your health insurance, you don't lose anything, you have 0 risk in doing it. But the mindset is really important.
Can I add something
yeah,
here?
absolutely,
No,
go ahead.
I think, you know, honestly, what I'm thinking, I think we succeeded the early stage game. Like when somebody would like to start a company, there's a lot of support, early stage funding, non-dilutive funding, and then later early stage investors. You can really, like, for Lunaphore until our Series B, I could just do almost everything in Switzerland. I think the challenge is a bit like when you want to go to the next stage, and that next stage is really where we add the value, but this is where we need the money and where we need the talent, which is not like technical talent, but this is real like commercial talent. This is where the things are getting harder because you don't have the talent, you cannot convince the people to invest in, and so it's like a sort of vicious circle that we have to go through. Probably like there are some ways to do that. There are other countries who have done this, but this is where we start hitting.
So many, indeed.
This is where we start hitting the wall, and then you just basically have to, as you say, like when I was raising our Series D financing or the like crossover financing, it just simply doesn't exist. You have to go to US. I was going to US every month.
Absolutely.
And build a network, like build a credibility from scratch in a country that you're not based at. And it's not so easy. We did it, but it takes longer and takes more money. So I think this is what makes it so tough.
That's a general VC rule. It gets longer and takes more money. That's the given rule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we are actually coming towards the end of this discussion. Soon we'll have questions popping up, and the last 40 seconds before they do, and before I start another questions, I give also my idea about mindset, actually, and I do think the investor community has to have some mindset change as well to actually attack the deep tech problem in Switzerland. I think it's tough, it's really risky, it's a long game, and it really needs courage. And I think it needs not just capital, but also courage.
Endurance.
Endurance, resilience, and some know-how. And so...
And some luck.
Sorry?
And some luck.
A little bit.
So here are the questions. What are the 3 things Switzerland should be known by in future when it's not chocolate pills and banking? Who wants to take that question? Gregel.
Robots and autonomous systems. I think we have a strong base for that.
I think robots are not bad, especially when they're surgical robots, actually.
Any.
I think we also have a very strong base with anything related to life sciences. Of course, like there's a traditional biotech, but Switzerland, all the innovation that we have, all the schools that we have, we can really win the life science game. I mean, I've been through that. We have so much value that is not brought to the market. It's amazing. It's really amazing.
Rafi, would you like to add? Next question. Sorry?
I think it would be nice if we have more amazing, bigger brands coming out of Switzerland. So we have On Running. Wherever you go in the world, everyone sees On Running shoes. We have Get Your Guide. Everyone around the world knows it. So I think that would be amazing if you're somewhere in the world, people talk about Facebook, Uber, Google, whatever, Apple, and you say, hey, that's a company out of Winterthur, Zurich, Lausanne, wherever in Switzerland, yeah.
I agree with that. That would be excellent, yeah. Next question. How important are politics for the startup scene? Do we need to do much more?
So Gregel would say no.
No. I mean, my pitch is always the same. You and us, we have all to be engaged on a political level. I mean, we have to work on a liberal framework. We have to improve the entire legal system. What I say, it's a very thick board to drill through, but we have to do it, and you are all invited, in particular, the young ones. The first row.
Anything to add to that?
No, I think it's right. I mean, politics, for most of us, politics sucks. Because it's boring, needs a long time to change something. If you're an entrepreneur, you don't feel comfortable in politics. The big issue is, if there are no entrepreneurs in politics, someone else will take care about our issues, and I think that sucks even more. So that's why I 100% agree with you, Gregel. We need a lot of young people, doesn't matter of the party, join a party, go there and fight for entrepreneurship. I think we need much more. We have a lot of farmers in the national parliament. We need more entrepreneurs. So I hope soon to see you in Bern, hopefully.
Fantastic segue, and I cannot stress enough what these 2 guys did with their companies. I mean, this is hardcore deep tech, very successful, and they should be an example for what's coming in the future. And I'm really happy that we had the opportunity to discuss, especially also with you, Gregel. It's an honor. And yeah, I hope we have more time to discuss later on. Thanks a lot.